I guess I can talk about it now. It's no secret that this game is, I guess I'll just say, dying. I mean, you can look at the viewership on Twitch. It looks pretty bad. You can look at the Steam charts. It also looks terrible. But on the bright side, we can cope. We can cope because the devs have sent us a status update about how they feel about the situation. It reads, "Hi gang, been seeing some posts and questions posed to us asking about how things are going over at Theorycraft HQ. So I'd like to give you a quick update. You'll hear more about our upcoming fireside chat on December 18th, but I'll give a preview now." So this is just going to be a short rundown, but we'll get like the actual like full thoughts on the state of the game later on. I guess it's nice that they're telling us that in advance, but I'd like to hear news sooner rather than later, especially given the dire state of the game. TLDR, yes, we would like to have more players and not to have two massive game launches right on top of us. I'm pretty sure it was 3, wasn't it? Because of Fortnite as well. But we deeply believe in the magic of the game and this community. We're committed to working through it. To give context about how we got here, our open beta debut was a huge success, but candidly, we're not seeing players stick to the game as much as we'd like. Throughout our 4 years of development and playtesting, we've never had the game on 24/7 for longer than a week, so this is uncharted territory for us, and we're learning as fast as we can. When I played the beta test back at the start of this year, they only had the game on for like 3 hours at a time, so you didn't actually get fatigued from the game if you were constantly spamming it. And if that's one of the issues they're having, which I haven't run into that issue yet because I've only been playing for 5 days at this point, I think, or something like that since the actual launch. That seems like one of the most obvious things they could have tested for during the beta that we didn't even get the chance to experience. When I played during the beta, I wasn't too hyped to play the game because the state the beta was in wasn't very good. So there's a reason why I ended up starting so late. But I'd imagine like the actual beta testers that they had testing it should be able to give that feedback. That seems like one of the most obvious things, so it's a little bit worrying they didn't catch it back then, but at least they're admitting it's a problem. To say it plainly, we have resources, developers, and capability, and we're in it for the long haul. This is why we wanted to go into open beta, so we could learn. We're going to take a lot of shots to get Supervive to a happy, retentive place, and then we'll go big with 1.0 and continue iterating from there. So I'm glad they're actually kind of treating the open beta like an open beta. A lot of games will use open beta as a means of just like launching the game and getting a bunch of money in, right? We all know about like early access scams for games and then they just never improve on it. It sounds like, and from what we've seen from the patches so far, they actually do want to change the game to be in a healthier spot, and they've tried doing a lot of things. And it sounds like they're going to go for a throwing shit at the fan and seeing whatever sticks kind of strategy, which is what betas are for, right? Obviously, it's an open beta for a reason, so that's kind of good. I like that they're taking it as an opportunity to learn, but I feel like a lot of these lessons are things that they should have learned. I actually tried scrolling through my Discord earlier to see if I could find the DMs with it, but I didn't remember the name of the dev I talked to. I actually brought up a lot of the issues that they end up talking about in this post in a little bit to the devs about a year ago when I ended up playing, and it feels like they changed none of them. So not too happy to see that. Maybe this is the wake-up call they needed. Some of the things we'd like to address in the short term, and you're already seeing changes either in action or plan towards these. We want solo play to be more enjoyable and accessible, both when it comes to coordinating with random players and in terms of individual agency. The game does feel really bad when you get matched with players that are a little bit lost in what they're doing because of the matchmaking right now. So solo play does feel really bad because of that. That's one of the issues with solo play. Another issue with solo play is that if you end up falling behind in a pug, people just like mental boom and like stop trying and just like start doing random stuff. So maybe I don't know exactly if they could fix that because that happens in League 2 in almost every single team game, but it does feel pretty bad to play this game solo over just like going in the Discord and joining a stack. So hopefully they can improve solo play and that'll help player retention. We want much more satisfying progression and things you can work towards, whether it's a battle pass, new content unlocks, or a meaningful ranked grind. I actually mentioned this during the patch notes when we were going over that, because one of the things I noticed is that this game doesn't actually have an in-game currency that you can get. The only thing it has is the progression pass over here. Like these two are only paid for. It's top up, which seems really weird to me because one of the ways that League can retain players really easily is doing things like having chests, having like blue essence you get from actually playing the game and whatnot, right? Having meaningful dailies. If you look at the dailies over here, I don't even look at these things. I don't even know what they or like how I complete them or anything because there's no point in me ever completing them because it just doesn't do anything. I guess I get like a little bit as progression pass, but I mean, okay. Getting this would be cool, I guess. I do want the little egg duck, but I definitely think they need more of like a reward for playing the game itself, especially for casual players. I think that's a good way to retain casual players. We want a cleaner path to mastery. While we believe there's depth, we think the challenge for new players is that they're unsure exactly what to get better at because there's so much to do. We need to simplify more. Actually, to expand on this a little bit, I think one of the biggest issues with the game is that the game is so open from the get-go. So yeah, there's a lot of things for new players to get good at, and it's honestly not even that hard to get good at it. It's just like you don't even know where to go from the start. Like, how do you know you need to hit soft cap? How do you even know how to hit soft cap? How do you know what you do after you hit soft cap? How do you know how to get better powers? How do you know how to get better armor, right? How do you know how to farm gold? How do you know where to use your gold? All these kind of things, right? How do you know how to macro? How do you even know what a UAV is? Like, there is so much in the game that if you know about it, if you know about these things inside of the game, it's really easy for you to actually do, right? You just walk up to UAV and press it, and you get the knowledge of where people are, so you can inform wherever you walk to, right? There's an icon on the map that shows you where a boss is. But the problem is, when you play a game like League, what you need to do in the game is actually incredibly simple. You sign up for a role, and you literally walk straight to that lane, and you just kill stuff. And that's it, right? It's extremely simple for a new player to get the basics of League. Now, obviously, there's a bunch of in-depth stuff, learning every single character, learning how to actually lane, learning how to, or when to contest objectives, recalls, buying items, all that stuff, right? But there's a linear path to improving for new players, even without them having to look up external resources. It feels like the game as it is right now, if you're a new player and you don't look up external resources to be able to get help, you have no idea how to improve. It wasn't until I started talking to top players within the game that I learned exactly like how I should macro and like where to go to, right? Just from me playing the game itself, I didn't intuitively understand how to or where I'd want to go and like what I want to do. And I'm saying that as someone who literally plays games professionally, bro. I'm literally a world champion. I am the prime example of a player who would pick up on a game easily. And if I can't pick up on what to do inside of a game from the gameplay itself, as someone who's I'd say I'm pretty decent at the game, considering I've only been playing for like 5 or 6 days or whatever at this point. And obviously I'm good at like every other game I've played too. Like, if I can't even pick up on what to do, how are new players or like people with like less experience gaming or whatever, and maybe not even familiar with the genre, how are they supposed to pick up on anything to do within the game? It doesn't make sense. So hopefully they find a way to address that. I think having maybe a more strict way of approaching the game and like a more linear approach to how new players especially should be playing the game. Maybe they have like some sort of tutorial bot that's like guiding you throughout the games when you're first playing or something. I don't know. There's probably like 1,000 different ways they could address it. It just needs to be addressed. The game is too open for new players to be able to pick up, and so you just fall so far behind and you have no idea what to do. Like, does a new player even intuitively understand what a soft cap is on your EXP? Probably not. They have no idea what's going on. How you upgrade your weapons is completely unintuitive. You have to go like pick up drops from the ground that you don't even know what they do because they're just like little small shards that are on the ground that are nonsensical. I think it's a new player nightmare, and that's why I think they're having issues with it. May have also noticed us implementing some stopgap measures to ensure matchmaking works, even at 4 a.m. We hear your feedback that some experiments were no good, i.e. testing with merging some regional queues during off-peak hours. Sorry about that. We're reverting that one and just communicating that off-peak queues will be much slower. I much like this approach more if, alright, I come from Pokemon Unite, or a while ago. I used to play that game, maybe like a year ago now since I've actually played it. But that game, you can't even choose whether or not you queue into another server. So if you're playing on North America, you can just end up playing to India and having 400 ping for your entire game, and you are just screwed. You are literally screwed. Because you were sitting there on red ping the entire time, 400 ping, you can't move your character, everything is insanely delayed. It is the most miserable experience ever. OCE players who don't even have players on their server in this game are ending up in queues in like Europe or like North America where the server's all the way in Ohio, so they're playing with like 200 ping, and there's nothing they can do about it. They want to keep the game. I think this is a better way of handling it, just saying like the game is going to be, or honestly, maybe what they could do, they can make it so the game is just like straight up not even available during these times, right? You could just say like, you can't queue ranked right now or something. Though maybe that's not quite a solution because they have ranked and unranked merged together. That's something they're going to have to fix in the future. And I think when they fix that, they'll have to make it so you can't queue ranked after like a certain time, right? There's like a window for it. Maybe that window is like 12 a.m. to like, or 12 p.m. to like 2 a.m. or something like that, right? Just that way they have ranked players consolidated in one time. At this time, our focus will be on action and a willingness to take big swings. We know there's magic and Supervive. We just have to move fast to iterate. So this is good. To iterate or to reiterate, I think it's a good thing that they're willing to just like throw a bunch of fixes out to the game and see what sticks. That's what a beta is for. So I'm glad they're treating a beta legitimately as a beta instead of just like an early access cash grab. So that's nice to see. a lot of companies do treat betas like early access cash grabs and don't actually care about the game. So I do like that. I just think it's a pretty big problem that these are issues I personally, with not even that much gameplay during the actual beta itself, identified almost a year ago. And they weren't addressed until now, until they just ended up flopping massively. I think that's kind of ridiculous. Though I do like that they're saying that they're going to work on it. And I do like that they're saying they're going to try a lot of different things. And maybe it won't stick, right? Like they mentioned the ranked queue changes earlier. And that one didn't stick, but they tried something, right? To try and make the game more enjoyable. I feel like this one should be pretty intuitive, but maybe that's just for me because I'm someone who already played with like this experience before, and it is literally miserable. Like I would rather just not play the game. I would rather just not play the game than have this. Anyway, we'll get more from the fireside chat coming out on the 18th.